The sirens are screaming, the world is burning, and the landscape of professional wrestling has just been altered by a seismic shift no one saw coming. Welcome to Wrestling Apocalypse. If you're still catching your breath after the Royal Rumble, you aren't alone. We are diving headfirst into the absolute wreckage of the most shocking betrayal and reveal in modern Rumble history. We thought we knew who the players were. We thought we understood the board. But while we were all staring at the front door, a ghost from the past crawled through the window and burned the house down. Picture the scene. The Royal Rumble match is at its fever pitch. The ring is a graveyard of broken dreams and heaving lungs. And in the center of it all stands the monster of the modern era, Bron Breakker. For 20 minutes, Breakker wasn't just a participant, he was a natural disaster. He had already dispatched 5, 6, 7 superstars, tossing them over the top rope like they were bags of trash. The crowd in the stadium was transitioning from awe to a strange, panicked realization we might be watching a wire-to-wire slaughter. Bron was standing alone, his chest heaving, his eyes wild, waiting for entrant number 27. He was the king of the hill, and the hill was piled high with the bodies of the elite. Then, the countdown began. 10, 9, 8. The heartbeat of the arena synced up with that digital clock. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The buzzer sounded, but there was no music, no pyro, no flashy entrance, just a heavy, distorted static that filled the speakers. Out from the shadows of the entranceway emerged a figure that made the hair on the back of every neck stand up. He was draped in a tattered, pitch-black hoodie, his face obscured by a ballistic tactical mask, chrome, cold, and emotionless. He didn't run. He didn't play to the crowd. He walked with the slow, methodical gait of an assassin who had already finished the job in his mind. The commentary team went silent. You could hear the confusion in the air. Was this a debut? Was this a returning legend? Bron Breakker didn't care. He let out a primal bark, beckoning the masked man into his domain. The figure slid into the ring under the bottom rope, moving with a fluid, haunting grace that felt eerily familiar, yet totally alien under that mask. They circled each other. The powerhouse and the phantom. Bron lunged a spear that should have snapped the man in half, but the masked figure floated out of the way, showing a level of agility that only a handful of humans on this planet possess. What followed was a 3-minute masterclass in psychological warfare. The masked man didn't just fight, he dissected Breakker. Every time Bron used brute force, the masked man used leverage. Every time Bron tried to overpower, the masked man found a joint, a pressure point, a weakness. And then came the moment that shattered the internet. Bron, frustrated and blinded by rage, went for a clothesline that could have decapitated a bull. The masked man ducked, hit the ropes, and delivered a jumping knee strike so precise, so violent, that Breakker collapsed against the turnbuckle. The masked man didn't follow up with a pin or a toss. Instead, he stood over the fallen titan, reached up, and agonizingly slowly unlatched the side of that chrome mask. The stadium held its breath. The camera zoomed in, blurring the background until all we saw was the shadow beneath the hood. The mask hit the canvas with a heavy metallic thud. And there he was. The cackle started before we even saw the full face. That high-pitched, manic, melodic laugh that has haunted the dreams of champions for a decade. Seth Freakin Rollins. But this wasn't the visionary we remembered. There were no flashy suits, no sing-alongs, no revolution. This was a Rollins we haven't seen in years. His eyes were cold. His hair was matted. He looked like a man who had spent his months away from the ring in a dark room, feeding on nothing but spite. The Monday Night Messiah had returned, but he had brought the apocalypse with him. Before Bron could even register the face of his attacker, Rollins was on him. It wasn't a wrestling sequence, it was an assault. He delivered a curb stomp on the ring apron, the hardest part of the ring, that sounded like a gunshot. While the referees screamed and the crowd went into a state of total hysteria, Rollins didn't hesitate. He grabbed the limp, unconscious 240-pound frame of Bron Breakker and, with a strength fueled by pure, unadulterated malice, hoisted him over the top rope. The favorite to win it all, the man who was supposed to main event WrestleMania, the badass of the new generation, hit the floor with a sickening thud. Eliminated. Just like that. The dream was dead, and Seth Rollins was the one holding the smoking gun. Rollins didn't even stay to win the match. He didn't care about the trophy. He didn't care about the title shot. He rolled out of the ring, walked through the crowd like a ghost through a wall, and disappeared into the night, leaving a trail of broken expectations behind him. Fast forward to Monday Night Raw, and the fallout was even more explosive. We've been hearing reports from backstage all day that Bron Breakker arrived at the arena in a state of total psychological collapse. Sources say he destroyed a locker room before the show even went on the air. He wasn't looking for a match, he was looking for blood. But when Adam Pearce tried to corner Rollins for an explanation, he found a man who had completely checked out of the company man persona. We saw the footage of Rollins sitting in a dimly lit boiler room, still wearing the tactical gear, staring at the mask on the floor. When asked why Bron, why now, Seth didn't give a promo. He gave a eulogy. He whispered to the camera that he spent a year watching Golden Boys walk through doors he spent 10 years building. He said Bron Breakker was a false idol and that the only way to save the industry was to burn the pedestal it stands on. The drama here is layers deep, fans. This isn't just a rivalry. This is a generational war. You have Bron Breakker, the man who represents the future, the raw power, the Steiner legacy, and the chosen one status. And then you have Seth Rollins, the architect who feels the walls closing in, the veteran who refuses to be moved to the legend category while he still has fire in his lungs. It's the king who won't give up the crown versus the barbarian who tried to take it by force. Think about the stakes for WrestleMania. The Rumble win is gone for Bron. His path to the title is blocked. But suddenly, he has a problem much bigger than a championship. He is being hunted by the smartest man in the history of this business. How do you prepare for a man who doesn't care about winning? How do you spear a ghost? The fan perspectives on this have been split down the middle. Half of the WWE universe is celebrating. They missed Seth. They missed the edge. They missed the danger he brings when he isn't playing to the rafters. But the other half? They're terrified for Bron. They saw the look in Breakker's eyes when he was eliminated. It wasn't just anger. It was the look of a child who just realized the monster under the bed is real and it has a name. The commentary from last night really drove it home. Wade Barrett said it best, "We are no longer looking at a wrestling promotion, we are looking at a crime scene." Every time Bron tried to call Seth out to the ring, the lights flickered, that distorted static played, and Seth appeared on the giant screen, laughing, mocking, reminding Bron that he is the one who controls the air he breathes. It was psychological torture on a global scale. So where do we go from here? The apocalypse is no longer a metaphor. It's a scheduled event. We are looking at a collision course that might not just end at WrestleMania, it might end a career. Can Bron Breakker reclaim his dominance, or has the architect found the one structural flaw that can bring the powerhouse crumbling down? Seth Rollins has reminded everyone that he isn't just a part of the show, he is the man who draws the blueprints. And right now, he's drawing a blueprint for Bron Breakker's destruction. The tension is thick enough to choke on, and we are going to be here every step of the way as this war escalates. If you thought the Royal Rumble was the peak, buckle up, because the descent into madness is just beginning. Seth is back, Bron is broken, and the ring is about to become a furnace. Before we sign off from the bunker, I want to know your theories. Is Seth Rollins justified in taking out the new guy, or has he finally lost his mind for good? Who walks out of their first face-to-face encounter standing tall? Drop your comments below, we read every single one, and the best theories might just make it into our next deep dive. If you lived for that reveal, if you're a Rollins disciple or a Breakker believer, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Wrestling Apocalypse. We are the home for the stories that matter, the turns you didn't see coming, and the carnage that follows. Don't miss a second of the fallout.